scarred by corruption and constantly fighting for the truth inside its own institutions. In the shadows of Parliament, beneath the bright lights of televised hearings and political speeches, another story unfolds, quieter but far more dangerous. A story about intelligence infiltration, collapsing oversight, and a justice system caught between power and secrecy. Tonight, we follow a warning, not whispered, but declared boldly. A warning from one of the country's most polarizing political figures, Julius Malema. A warning that the ad hoc parliamentary committee, the very body tasked with investigating claims of police intelligence capture, is falling apart from the inside. Files are missing. Statements are flawed. Key witnesses slip through the cracks. And the truth risks being buried under administrative failure. But this is not just a South African story. Across the world, democracies are learning a harsh lesson. If oversight collapses, corruption evolves. If institutions weaken, power migrates to the shadows. This documentary follows the cracks, from Parliament's committee rooms to the intelligence corridors of KwaZulu-Natal, asking a single, urgent question. What happens when the system built to guard the truth becomes the system that endangers it? In an age of rising uncertainty, the greatest threat is not what we see in the streets, but what we fail to see behind closed doors. To understand the crisis unfolding now, we have to go back to the beginning. Earlier this year, Parliament created a special ad hoc committee to investigate explosive allegations by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, the head of police in KwaZulu-Natal, one of South Africa's most volatile provinces. Mkhwanazi claimed that rogue intelligence elements had infiltrated crime intelligence structures, that they were manipulating investigations, obstructing justice, and possibly coordinating with networks implicated in past unrest. For a country still healing from state capture, these were not normal allegations. They were alarms, deep, national, and urgent. The committee was tasked with something monumental: sift through confidential intelligence material, interview witnesses across provinces, examine links to corruption networks, and deliver a report that could reshape policing and national security. But from the very beginning, the pressure was enormous. And as hearings unfolded over November 2025, the cracks began to show. This is where Julius Malema enters the picture. As both EFF president and a sitting member of the committee, he sent a letter to Parliament Speaker Toko Dizika, a letter that ignited the current storm. In it, he warned that the committee's internal machinery was collapsing. Too few staff, rushed paperwork, poorly drafted witness statements, and no forensic experts to analyze complex intelligence material. He argued that without urgent reinforcement, the investigation would be compromised, and with it, the public's trust. And he may not be wrong, because as we dig deeper, it becomes clear the problem is not just administrative, it is structural, systemic, and perhaps intentional. Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi is not a fringe figure. He is one of the highest-ranking police officers in the country. Based in KwaZulu-Natal, a region shaped by political violence, organized crime, and deep factional battles, his warnings carry unusual weight. He alleged that intelligence structures were infiltrated, that police investigations were being manipulated, that there was interference in disciplinary processes, and a pattern that reminded many of the Zuma-era intelligence wars. For South Africa, the stakes could not be higher. If intelligence structures are compromised, law enforcement collapses from the inside. If the committee investigating these claims collapses, oversight collapses with it. This is the danger Malema is pointing out. a danger hidden between bureaucratic lines and parliamentary silence. The ad hoc committee began with energy, almost determination, but pressure mounted quickly. According to Malema's letter, the evidence leader had only 2 junior assistants. Thousands of pages of intelligence documents had to be processed. Multiple witnesses required preparation. Hearings were held back to back, leaving no room for analysis. Forensic expertise, essential for intelligence review, was completely missing. Mistakes followed. Incorrect witness statements, missing information, contradictory affidavits, important intelligence notes overlooked. Malema referenced Section 9.3 of the Terms of Reference, a rule requiring the chairperson to identify additional resource needs and secure them immediately. This, he said, had not been done despite visible failures. The result? A committee moving forward, but unsteady, productive, but fragile, public, but vulnerable. A committee that risks delivering a report that could be easily challenged, legally weakened, or simply wrong. In mid-November 2025, the situation intensified. Witness after witness arrived. Mkhwanazi, whose affidavit drew sharp questioning. Lieutenant General Fani, probing SAS internal tensions. Additional senior officers outlining operational failures and structural weaknesses. But the hearings showed symptoms of the internal crisis: late preparation, missing documents, confusion between versions of statements, and witnesses unclear on previous testimonies. As tension rose, the committee prepared for a major shift, traveling to Gauteng to interview Vusimiso Kat Matlala at Kosi Mampuro Correctional Center. Matlala, jailed on attempted murder charges, is considered a key informant about alleged intelligence infiltration. The Gauteng leg expanded the investigation dramatically. SAF CFO Lieutenant General Mosakili, Deputy National Commissioner Pulang Dimpain, senior intelligence officials, operational commanders tied to KZN cases. But with expanding scope came expanding pressure and risk. The committee had asked for more time earlier, but Parliament had denied it due to unrelated political disputes. Now the schedule was collapsing under its own weight. The story is South African, but its implications are global. Around the world, from Latin America to Eastern Europe, institutions face similar challenges. Investigative committees under-resourced, intelligence units operating with minimal oversight, political factions influencing legal processes, and public trust in justice systems fading. In democracies, intelligence structures require oversight. Without it, a dangerous gap emerges, one that criminal networks, rogue officers, and political opportunists can exploit. The Mkhwanazi allegations and the committee's struggle to investigate them reveal a universal truth. Power does not corrupt in the open. It corrupts in the administrative failures we dismiss as technical problems. If South Africa fails to fix its investigative machinery, the consequences could echo far beyond the committee room. Weakened police integrity, unresolved corruption cases, increased vulnerability to organized crime, and growing public suspicion. This is why Malema's letter matters, not because of the political figure behind it, but because of the principle it defends. The investigation into Mkhwanazi's claims is still underway. Hearings continue. Witnesses come and go. Files expand by the day. But one truth has already surfaced. Oversight is only as strong as the system that supports it. If a committee meant to protect the country from infiltration is itself weakened by poor resources, then danger slips through the cracks. This documentary is not about Julius Malema. It is not about Parliament. It is not even just about Mkhwanazi. It is about a deeper question. How does a nation safeguard its justice system when the machinery designed to protect it is collapsing from the inside. South Africa stands at a crossroads, one familiar to democracies worldwide. One path leads to transparency, accountability, and strengthened institutions. The other leads to silence, decay, and a justice system vulnerable to manipulation. The choice, as always, belongs to those who dare to look deeper. Because in the end, the greatest threat is not the corruption we uncover, but the corruption we never investigate properly.